Southwest Florida is blessed with a wealth of great live theater, companies that regularly present musicals, comedies, and dramas, all designed to entertain and beguile.
But at night, I'm a dynamic czar of the underworld.
But what makes the theater scene here especially exciting and enticing is the abundance of community theaters, those places where most of the work is done by amateurs, friends and neighbors who just happen to have a passion for putting on shows. At the Sugden Community Theater, the Naples Players annually presents 10 productions, ranging from large-scale musicals performed in the 324-seat Blackburn Hall to intimate dramas performed in the Toby Studio Theater. Executive Director Jim Rideout explains how vital the volunteers are to this effort.
We have a very limited staff. We only have 12 full-time employees here, and we have a $1.7 million budget. So that's a pretty thin staff for that size budget. The thing that distinguishes community theaters from any other live theater is the fact that we do not pay our actors anything. It's largely a volunteer organization. We do have a professional staff, but they're rather limited. Most of the work and all of the acting that goes on here is done by volunteers.
While the actors are the most visible of the Players' volunteers, there are as many tasks available as there are interests. Whether the desire is to build sets, run lights, or even just greet patrons, community theater has a place and a need for everyone. Artistic Director Dallas Dunnigan explains.
The challenges are really about deciding what is best for the people who want to participate. I think that's the key. Whether we use them in small roles or we use them in large roles, whether we use them as a crew member or we encourage them to take classes, or we decide how they can best learn to become a part of the organization, to become a part of this family that's the community theater.
The Players maintains a more ambitious schedule than most community theaters, and that means there is always plenty of work to do. It's not unusual to have plays in production on both the main stage and in the studio theater.
I know what this position does to your internal organs. Now sit up, I'm going to show you. See, your stomach presses against your lungs, and then your lungs press against your heart, and then that poor little heart of yours doesn't have any room to go on beating for you.
What the hell am I supposed to do?
While a third play is in rehearsal.
Yes, we make it ourselves.
Well, we make it ourselves. It's elderberry wine.
Elderberry wine.
As a result, the volunteers devote an impressive amount of time. Those who volunteer more than 500 hours a year are recognized by plaques outside the theater. But, as Dunnigan explains, the hours, like the jobs, are an individual decision.
If, for instance, you want to volunteer to collect props for the show, that can take, a couple hours a week for about 6 weeks. Or if an actor, it's 6 to 8 weeks of rehearsal, 5 nights a week, and then a minimum of 4 weeks of performances. So that's a huge commitment. So you can see there's a huge variety of time frames that you participate in.
Why devote so much time? The answer is for love and for the chance to be part of something special. Carolyn Hanks, for example, found a second home in the costume shop.
I've never worked anywhere near the theater before, and it's a totally different milieu, and it's fun. I like to do it, and it's really fun to go and see the show once it's on, and you could sit there and say, I did that.
And sometimes Hanks is asked to take on unusual tasks that test her creativity.
Trying to make a skinny, pretty actress look fat and heavy, and beefing her up in the butt and the boobs for Arsenic and Old Lace. And she's been dieting like crazy and has lost a lot of weight, and now we're doing this to her, which is not fair, but that's okay.
Such transformations are an inherent part of theater. During rehearsal times, it can seem that a show will never come together. But somehow it always does. And once the curtain goes up, the magic is evident.
With 17 gentlemen callers, you ugly, barren old witch!
More than 400 people, ranging in age from 4 to 104, are volunteer members of the Naples Players. While most are local, some come from as far away as Miami to pursue their passion. And Executive Director Rideout hopes that membership will continue to grow.
We'd like to have that as large as we can. We do whatever we can to offer different training programs and everything else to try to attract people who are interested in theater. And if they're not interested, to stay around very long, we hope we can inoculate them so they will become interested.
Artistic Director Dunnigan, who has worked on staff at both professional and community theaters, finds a special satisfaction in working with amateurs.
I think there are positives to working in community theater in terms of everybody really wants to be here. It's not just a job, it's a love. They're here because it fulfills some sort of need. It's not about a paycheck.
And it's the opportunity to work with these passionate volunteers who come from all walks of life and love all sorts of work that keeps her committed to her job.
I love the people. I wouldn't have it any other way. I think this group of people, there's such a wide variety of different interests here in this building.
Since a prime purpose of community theater is teaching all aspects of the art, a lack of experience is no barrier to involvement, as Dunnigan explains.
You could walk in this door and not know what the word theater means, and by the time you walk out, you can be as qualified as a professional.
The learning is in the doing, and the doing is where the fun is. At the Naples Players, as at any community theater, the play's the thing in which varying passions can harmoniously sing.
Mortimer, we don't try to stop you from doing things you like to do.